Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with our meeting. If we would rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our country. Right in of your heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
Thank you.
Commissioner Patrick?
Here.
Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Commissioner Trejo? Here. Commissioner Williams?
Here.
You want to do the roll call again for us, Madam Secretary?
Yes. Commissioner Patrick?
Here.
Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Commissioner Trejo?
Here.
Commissioner Williams?
Here.
And I'm here also.
Chairman Springs?
Here. Any communications from staff?
Yes, Chairman. First, I would like to welcome our newest commissioner, Commissioner Cheryl Shaw Williams, representing the District 4. We're very glad to have her here and look forward to many meetings together going over projects.
Welcome.
Secondly, just would like to follow up on an inquiry from the commission at last meeting regarding a property at 90th and 5th Avenue. We've followed up with code enforcement. They have issued a warning to the property and they're continuing to monitor the situation.
Thank you.
And lastly, regarding the cosmetology overview, we were not able to complete that for this meeting, but we do plan to bring that to the August Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you.
That concludes staff comments.
Okay, we'd like to, at this particular point, open up the phone lines. You hear me? We would like to open up the phone lines for anyone wishing to address the Planning Commission on any items on the agenda other than the public hearing, may do so at this particular time. And by doing so, you want to push #2, and then you'll be able to speak. It's like a 20-second, if you go on Facebook, maybe a 20-second delay. Do we have callers?
Ladies and gentlemen, again, to add a comment, press #2. Going to our first comment. Caller, please go ahead.
Good evening. This is Councilman Ralph Franklin. Can you hear me? I'd like to speak on item number 7 on the agenda. And I'd like to personally take the
Your line is now muted.
to recognize a very outstanding young man that took on the responsibility of serving as the District 4 Planning Commissioner for well over 17 years, and that is the former Commissioner Terry L. Coleman. And on behalf of the City of Inglewood, I'd like to provide to the public a special commendation to be presented via telephone on his behalf of the city of Inglewood. It reads as follows. In recognition of your retirement from the Planning and Zoning Commission, Terry L. Coleman, on behalf of the mayor and council members of the city of Inglewood, California, we extend congratulations and best wishes to Terry L. Coleman on the occasion of his retirement, effective June 1, 2020, as the District 4 appointee to the Planning and Zoning Commission after 17 years of faithful and dedicated service to the community members of the city of Inglewood. Terry L. Coleman has a long and distinguished service history in the city of Inglewood and has previously served as the District 4 appointee for both the Human Affairs Commission and the Civil Service Commission. Terry L. Coleman has always been a well-informed, thoroughly prepared, and engaged planning and zoning commissioner who took his responsibilities seriously. He was supportive and instrumental in the approval of both the SoFi Stadium project and the Murphy's Bowl project, known as the LA Clippers project, but was also vocal in his opposition to the oversaturation of liquor stores, nail salons, and cannabis dispensaries in our community. Terry L. Coleman executed his commission duties faithfully and responsibly, and his diligent efforts have not gone unnoticed or unappreciated. His willingness to embrace new opportunities, take on new challenges, and successfully address and resolve issues has encouraged the hearts of others and garnered their admiration and respect. As a resident of the city of Inglewood, we join with family, friends, fellow commissioners, and city staff to celebrate his significant milestone in his life and honor him for being an example of professionalism and integrity that others can truly emulate. May you have continued success in every future endeavor and be blessed with good health, long life, happiness, and prosperity. Now, therefore, be known that the mayor and city council members of the city of Inglewood, California, do hereby salute Terry L. Coleman, presented on this very special occasion, presented this first day of June 2020, signed by mayor and city council. With his absence, the mayor and city council authorized on June 23rd the new appointee.
Your line is now unmuted.
Councilman Franklin, are you still there?
This is Councilman Franklin. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you now, sir, yes.
All right. I just wanted to conclude by acknowledging the successor District 4 Commissioner, Ms. Cheryl Shaw Williams, who has many years of a resident of the city of Inglewood, and I'm only going to acknowledge her community involvement. She's currently active with the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Planning Committee. She had been involved in Morningside High Monarchs Association as a board member and president. Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they can. Also, she's Inglewood Heights Scholarship Committee. She's with the California State University at Dominguez Hills Alumni Association, and currently actively involved with Century Heights Neighborhood Watch Association in District 4, and the daughter of Dr. Ernest and Lorraine Shaw, who has also founded the Normandy Christian School Scholarship Foundation. She comes with a lot of energy, eager to learn, and I ask the board members on the Planning Commission to please embrace her as the current member of the commission on behalf of District 4, and I thank you for my comment.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any? Go ahead, sir. Okay. Hearing no one else.
All right, can you hear me now? I keep being cut off.
Yes, we can hear
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you now, I request at the end of the public comments by others that you move to item 7. Unfortunately, Commissioner Coleman's health is not up to par and he does need to rest. And as soon as you can move to that item number 7 agenda for your accolades, it would be much appreciated. And I'm now off the line. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Is there anyone else? Hearing none. We want to celebrate the retirement of Commissioner Terry L. Coleman, and this is a resolution from the commissioners, and it reads as follows. Whereas Commissioner Terry L. Coleman has served honorably, intelligently, and with dignity as a planning commissioner for the city of Inglewood from November 2003 to June 2020. Whereas Commissioner Coleman is a pillar in the city of Inglewood's community and care deeply about the quality of life for all who lives in and work and visit our fine city. And whereas during his tenure as the planning commissioner, Commissioner Coleman helped the commission steward a number of major development projects through the city's review and approve process, including the 230-acre mixed-use Hollywood Park special plan, the groundbreaking ceremony for the SoFly Stadium at Hollywood Park Tomorrow project, the 375-unit Renaissance residential development that provided much-needed low-density single-family residential homes for our community, the 200,000 square foot Century Villa Shopping Center, the residential homes at Grace Park on the former Daniel Freeman Hospital site. And whereas there were many other major initiatives that he helped shepherd during his tenure, including the downtown and Fairview Heights Transit-Orient Development Plan, the design guidelines, the city 2008 through 2014, and 2013 through 2021 housing element, the city emergency energy and climate action plan, the establishment of several design overlay zones, the amendment of certain zoning regulations that will foster quality developments in the city of Inglewood. And whereas he was diligent among his colleagues and being well prepared and well informed in his investigation of all planning agenda items, including visiting each proposed development site and being thorough and thoughtfulness in his consideration of the project and the potential issues of the impact to the community. And whereas Commissioner Coleman was known for his firm and fair approach to the review of the diligence of the development projects and land use issued scheduled for planning commissioner consideration, holding developers accountable for their proposals and projects, and making every vote was based upon health and safety, along with the quality of life considered for the residents of the city of Inglewood. And whereas the city of Inglewood has benefited greatly from his selflessness, service, and dedication to the community, Commissioner Coleman will be deeply missed on the commission. However, his contribution as a planning commission of District 4 will live on for many, many years to come. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Planning Commission of the City of Inglewood, California, does hereby honor and commend Commissioner Terry L. Coleman for 17 years of dedicated service to the people of the City of Inglewood. presented this first day of July 2020. Larry Springs, Chairman, and the Commissioners for the City of Inglewood Planning Division. Okay, hearing nothing else, I would like to look at our minutes. I'm sorry, before we do that, I want to close this segment of our meeting, and we want to go over our minutes. But prior to going over our minutes for an approval, I spoke with our city attorney, our assistant city attorney, Mr. Lewis, in regards to the minutes dated October 2019. At that particular point, we did not have a quorum, so there is no official vote on that. So I'd like to move, is there any corrections to that particular minutes for October 2019? Hearing none, I'd like to approve those minutes for October 2019. Now, is there a motion on the floor for the remaining minutes?
I can make a motion for the remaining minutes with the exception of December 6th, because I believe that should be, as a typo, it should be December 4th.
Okay, so we're looking at December 6th, and it should be December 4th. So there's a motion on the floor to approve the minutes, the following minutes, with the correction of it being December 4th rather than December 6th. Is there a second?
Second. Oh, wait, well, it does say December 4th here.
Say that?
She
It does
says,
say December 4th. Should it be changed to December 6th or December?
Well, I'm looking at the top here, apparently.
Oh,
you're looking at the minutes at the top. Okay, it's been properly moved then
second.
and second. Call for any questions? We're calling for a vote with the necessary corrections in the initial minutes.
Commissioner Patrick,
Abstain.
Commissioner Rice, Commissioner Trejo,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams, Chairman Springs.
Aye. Okay, we want to do our first item on the agenda, please.
Commissioners, just a reminder to ensure that those calling in on the phone line can hear, just make sure to always speak into your mics as best you can.
Thank you. Madam Secretary?
Item 6A, a public hearing to consider an application by Beth Abulafia, representing Target Corporation, for special use permit number 2019-018, SB 2019-018, to allow the sale of distilled spirits for off-site consumption from an existing retail and grocery store on an approximately 11.8 acre CR commercial and recreation zone property at 3471 West Century Boulevard.
Chairman Springs and Commission, notice has been given in the form and manner as required by law, and Assistant Planner Marissa Fuel is present to do a short staff presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and members of the Commission. The subject site for this SUP request is located at 3471 West Century Boulevard and has a commercial and recreational general plan designation with CR zoning. The approximately 11.8-acre site is located to the north of Century Boulevard and is part of the larger marketplace at Hollywood Park. The shopping center contains 13 tenant spaces with associated on-site parking. The existing use at the subject site is a Target retail store that has maintained an active business license since June 2001. Within the existing store, the majority of floor area will continue to be used for display of general merchandise, including household items, toiletries, and clothing. The store also has an existing grocery area that includes meat, dairy, and other food items. The applicant is proposing the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits for off-site consumption. Per IMC regulations, the sale of beer and wine is permitted by right in grocery stores with a minimum square footage of 10,000 square feet. The applicant's grocery area is over 10,000 square feet. Therefore, SUP approval is required for the distilled spirit sales only. The alcoholic beverages are proposed to be displayed within the existing grocery area of the store, shown in green on the slide. One shopping aisle is proposed to display non-refrigerated items, and 8 refrigerated coolers are proposed to display refrigerated beverages. The proposed alcohol sales area would occupy 680 square feet, which constitutes approximately 6% of the grocery area and less than 1% of the total sales floor area. The hours of operation for the Target and proposed alcohol sales are 8 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Sundays. The store averages 120 to 140 employees per day. According to the California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, 2 off-sale licenses are permitted within the subject site census tract without the census tract being considered overconcentrated. ABC records indicate that there are currently 2 active licenses within the census tract. Details on the licenses and the licenses located in the surrounding census tract is included in your report. There is 1 active license within 1,000 feet of the subject site. In the subject crime reporting district, the crime rate increased from 231 incidents in 2017 to 244 incidents in 2019. The subject site itself has seen a decrease in crime rate with 93 incidents in 2017, 78 in 2018, and 39 incidents in 2019. Based on the existing ABC licenses in the area, the Planning Commission, as part of its consideration of this SUP request, will need to make a finding whether or not the proposed ABC license provides a public convenience or necessity to the community. The applicant has submitted their justification as Attachment 5. In summary, the applicant's justification states that the proposed alcohol sales will provide a public convenience or necessity due to offering their customers a more complete shopping experience by allowing them to shop for grocery items, household items, and alcohol beverages at one location, eliminating the need to shop and travel to multiple stores. The footprint of the existing store will remain unchanged. Pedestrian access and parking will also remain unchanged. There are currently 142 security cameras for the interior and exterior of the store. If the alcohol sales are approved, the entire alcohol display area will be monitored by the existing cameras. The cameras are monitored in real time, and footage will be shared with the Inglewood Police Department upon request. Target also has 9 security guards on the team, including 6 uniformed guards, 2 undercover guards, and 1 security manager. The security guards are in the store 7 days a week during all business hours, typically with 3 working during the day and 3 in the evenings. Uniformed guards are located at the front of the store by the entrance and checkout area, while the security manager and undercover guards are traveling throughout the store. No public comments in favor or against this project have been received. The proposed project is consistent with the commercial recreational land use designation and is exempt from further environmental review. A revised draft resolution has been placed in front of you. The revised resolution removed a condition pertaining to beer and wine sales, which is allowed by right for this type of application. This concludes my presentation, and I am available to answer any questions the commissioners might have. The applicant is also calling in tonight, along with the store manager of the Target, to provide additional information and answer any questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa, very good. We're going to open it up for questionings. We're going to start off with Commissioner Patrick.
I haven't any questions for staff, but I'd like to reserve it. I will have questions for the manager when they're online. Thank you.
Commissioner Rice.
Yes, Ursa. Is the, what are the current hours of the Target store? Are they open until midnight and until 11 o'clock p.m. now?
I believe their hours are limited right now due to the coronavirus, but their typical hours are 8 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. to 11 on Sundays.
The entire store?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Trio.
I just wanted to ask, to confirm, do they sell beer and wine now?
No, they do not.
Okay, so they don't sell any alcohol at the store now?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, what training have the employees been given with regards to checking ID in order to purchase?
Need your microphone.
I'm sorry.
The microphone. Talking to it.
The question is, will the employees be trained in how to properly check ID for purchase of alcoholic beverages?
Yes, I believe that's a condition as part of the ABC license. The applicant would probably be more informed on what the training will include.
Thank you.
Okay. I have no questions for you. Thank you very much. If the applicant is here, would you please identify yourself and tell us about your particular project and why you would want the Planning Commission to approve this particular project?
Caller, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead.
This is Benny Perez, the store manager, and I was waiting for Beth to unmute and join as well.
Okay, I believe you may be able to hear me now.
We can hear you, yes. Go ahead. Your name, please.
Great, thank you. My name is Beth Abalafia, and I am representing Target in connection with this application. The staff report, I think, was very thorough in explaining what our request is. Most of the Target stores in California do sell alcoholic beverages, including the Target stores closest to this our Inglewood store, and including Culver City, Lawndale, Gardena. And we would like to be able to offer that same amenity to customers of the Inglewood store, that is to be able to purchase alcoholic beverages when they're at the Target store shopping for other items, and in particular grocery items. Although alcoholic beverages will be just a small component of the overall product mix at the Target store and won't change the addition of alcoholic beverages, won't change the character of the store at all. It is a convenience that customers of Target have come to expect. And as I say, we would like to be able to provide that convenience to Inglewood shoppers as well. Target takes the responsibility of selling alcoholic beverages very seriously. All of its cashiers go through a training program before they're allowed to be in a position to sell alcoholic beverages. They have to complete the training program and pass a test. That is part of Target's corporate policy. notwithstanding the proposed condition for alcohol training. And as staff detailed, Target does have extensive security measures just in general to make sure that its customers have a safe experience shopping at the Target store, including video camera surveillance throughout the store, uniformed and undercover asset protection, security personnel, dedicated security personnel to monitor the store. And so we believe that the addition of alcoholic beverages will be a benefit to Target's customers and won't have any ill effects. And so we are asking the commission to approve the application. We are in substantial agreement with the conditions that have been proposed by staff in the draft resolution. There are a couple conditions that we would like to raise and ask the commission to consider adjusting. The first one is condition number 10, which limits the display area for the sale of alcoholic beverages to 680 square feet, which is what is currently proposed by Target. However, we would like to ask the commission for just a little bit of flexibility there, so that Target would have some ability to adapt to customer feedback once that becomes a part of the product mix, and perhaps have some additional seasonal displays during the holiday season. So we would like just a little bit of flexibility there, and would ask the commission to consider limiting the area for alcohol sales to 900 square feet, which would amount to about 9% of the grocery area, and still only about 1% of the total sales floor area, and still be well below the 15% of floor area that's allowed for grocery stores. The other condition that we would like to raise for discussion is condition number 18 regarding the video surveillance cameras. The concern we have there is that the condition requires that the camera footage be maintained for 60 days. The camera footage for Target stores is maintained for 14 days, with the exception of the register area, which is a more sensitive area within the store. And the footage over that area of the store is maintained for 28 days. That is consistent throughout the Target stores in the LA area, and the reason for it is because the systems just don't have the capacity to store that much footage for those many cameras. As staff mentioned, there's 142 cameras at this store for that period of time. We could certainly adjust the cameras that are covering the alcohol display area to retain that footage for the 28 days, similar to what is done for the register area. But we would ask for that adjustment in that portion of this condition. And Mr. Perez, who is the store director, is also on the line and can speak to this issue in more detail if the commission would like some more detail about this.
Okay.
And with that, I would welcome any questions that any of the commissioners might have.
Okay, thank you. We're going to open up for questions, but prior to your opening up for questions, we want to have Mr. Perez come up and give us some explanation on the camera situation, if you can do that, and then we'll open it up for questions from our commissioners.
We've been a member of the community in the Pine City for over 20 years since we've opened in 2001. And I would like to just note that we've been great partners to law enforcement and local government. Anything that has come up as a request, we've been able to fulfill with our local police department, and we feel great relationships with the watch commander and the captain. Up until this date, everything they've asked for, we have been able to accommodate with the current system as designed. And as Beth mentioned, with so many cameras, the bandwidth is just not there to support that many cameras to retain more than the system allotment that we have right now. If we were to increase any type of memory, what it does is it impacts the reliability or the quality of the video, which we pride ourselves in our quality of video in the sophisticated systems that we have. As some of you might know, we have a forensics lab that we have all law enforcement, FBI's use our forensics lab because of the technology that we have. And that is why we have that limit in order to be able to provide quality video footage and whatever is needed. And that's it, unless you have other questions.
Okay. Very good. What we're going to do at this time is that we're going to open it up for questions for the two of you. And we're going to start with our commissioner. But before we get started, each commissioner, we have a 5-minute time limit. If you don't complete all your questions in that 5 minutes, then you can come back and resume your balance of your time. So we're going to start with Commissioner Patrick. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. The first one is, most stores are now going by the way of self-serve checkout stands. Even though you have the electronic age verification, how will that work when you have someone that may be a minor buying liquor and going through the self-serve checkout there at Target? Is that up to the...
We have.
Go on.
I apologize.
Before you answer that question, what, okay, you want her to answer your question right now, or do you want to answer it at the end?
And they can answer now.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
So what we have is we have not only the technology that blocks the sale and asks for the ID, but we also have a security, uniform security at the self-checkout that supervises and oversees that area, along with a dedicated cashier team member that is there just watching those registers and everybody that comes in and comes out. So those registers are not unattended. There's two, one being a team member, the other one being a security guard from open to close, supervising those transactions.
So you will be checking ID as a matter of course for everyone buying alcoholic beverages?
Correct. The transaction will not go through. Once you scan an alcoholic item, the system freezes until a team member enters a date of birth, full month, day, and year, and they need a team member number in order to enter that. The guest cannot enter it themselves.
Thank you. You've also noticed, the other question I have is that you have noted that you would like a reduction in maintaining your film from 60 days to 14 days. You have had in the past a very good relationship, I understand, with the Inglewood Police Department. Have you checked with them on this reduction of days of maintaining the film?
I have not been with them, but everything as of today, and every time they come in, we have not had any issues with the video retention. If we identify anything, we save it for any future records, but no, we have not checked in with them unless, Beth, you have?
No, I have not spoken with the police department directly. Marissa may have had those conversations, however.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Rice?
Thank you. Mr. Perez? Are you there, Mr. Perez? Okay.
Yes, good evening.
I can appreciate your application. It targets a well-shopped store in our community, and I can see the convenience when people are shopping for groceries and things when, if they wanted alcohol, it would be convenient. The challenge I'm having is the mechanics of how someone with a store that size, if someone just walks up and picks up a beer and decides they want to walk out with it, what stops that from happening? If they put it under their, if a 16-year-old picks up a can of beer and puts it in his pocket. In other words, I'm concerned that it may be too convenient in a store this size.
Beth, if I may, so with that,
Yes, please, Benny.
so with that, it much as it seems as it's convenient or as easy as it might seem, it is not. So we pride ourselves in being safe and being responsible, but also we have an extended security presence, both not just in the camera, but walking the floor. We also have the camera system and alarm that you can trigger the minute somebody touches that aisle, walks in, an alarm comes up and you're able to see it instantly. On top of that, we have team members working those departments every single day throughout the day. As you have noted, 120 to 130 team members a day working. There's a good dozen team members working that section of the grocery department, and one team member traditionally works every 2 aisles where they're stocking, serving the guests, assisting, zoning, picking up, keeping it brand. There's always a number of team members present through that area. So as much as it seems, I feel confident, and we've done it in other stores in our ability to be responsible.
688 square feet is almost a garage and a half, almost a 3-car garage. That's quite a bit of, how many aisles are you going to have? If you approve for that 680 square feet, how many aisles will be within that 680 square feet versus the 900 you're requesting?
So that's 680. Go ahead, Beth.
The current plan is 680 square feet, which includes the aisle space, is one aisle and cooler sections.
So all of your alcohol will be on one aisle. So if someone stands at the end of that aisle, they can monitor that alcohol at all times.
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. With reference to your camera system, you said you have a 14-day recording period?
Correct.
A retention period, yes.
10 days?
14.
14.
14 and 28 days on the cash register area.
Is there a way you can bifurcate that system and have one of the standard systems that's set to record for 30 days, which most systems are, and if you split that system up and had more than one, maybe you had 3 or 4 different systems running, so that you can achieve the 30 or the 60 days that the planning department's requesting?
Benny?
So we can set up a specific camera and tell it to retain the video for 28 or 30 days, but you can't add more than 30, 60 days to that one camera without jeopardizing the bandwidth and the quality of the video. And that's why we can tell it, record the Liquor Valley aisle that is going to have the display, and we can retain it for 28 days. I'm confident we can probably get that. But once you start adding more, then you're jeopardizing.
Why don't we isolate and take one camera system and put it for that area, and then you can get your 30, 60, or 90 days. You're just using that one camera system for that one area, separate from your other camera system, so it doesn't have to integrate with anything else.
Well, the way the system is set up in our technology, it's all run through the internet in our corporate office, and there's a server that houses all of that, and that's why it's not as simple to add a separate system to record that. That's why we can add an additional camera and set the parameters on that camera differently. But as far as I know, as of any other store in our company, we do not have that set up or are not able to do that setup.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Trio?
There it is. Well, that's a concern if the 60 days, as the planning department is requesting, can't be met. But let me ask you this fundamentally. Target has had a business license at this site since 2001 and has been operating successfully since 2001. Why are you applying this for this now? Why hadn't you before?
Well, there are a few hundred Target stores in California, and so we have been applying for stores throughout the state over the past many years. There are still some stores that we haven't gotten to, and so there is no particular reason for the timing of this.
And from a store side, if I can just add that I get numerous requests as to why the other stores in our local area in the vicinity sell it and we don't, and how they have to go to that store and maybe they should just shop there and not come to ours because of the second trip that's needed. I get numerous guest surveys that get filled out and give us feedback. I get several of those. So we want to make it convenient so that they don't have to go to a different store. I want my guests in my store in my community to buy at our store.
Thank you.
And if I can add, Isaiah, we have transformed the store. I got there in September, and our store is turning around. We have much better in-stocks available for our guests, providing the essential items from what we have before. So I'm the new store manager. I just got there in September, and I'm proud to say the change that we've delivered to our community with that store.
Okay, thank you. Next is Commissioner Williams.
Good evening, Mr. Perez. My concern, item number 19, with regards to the graffiti, trash, and debris, this particular Target is one that I shop at, and I personally have witnessed more than I'd like to see in the way of trash and debris. Now, what is going to be implemented with regards to keeping a daily maintenance log or sweep log? Will the cleaning be every 2 hours, every 3 hours, so that we're assured that it'll have a nice, clean look to it for patrons to come into your store?
Benny, yes, please, go ahead and respond.
So with that, I also take great pride in what our building looks like, because I want the store to have a great impression as you walk in, and we have made changes. And I assure you, we will continue to make those changes. In our parking lot will be kept up neat and tidy. Our trash cans will be emptied. We've done better at that already, and I will continue. The good news is the property manager that has been running that location has not been very flexible and available. She has retired. We have a new property manager that I will be walking with this coming Wednesday and build that relationship and expectation. And whatever they don't have on their schedule, we will pick up the slack with my day orders in between.
Thank you.
All right, I have a couple of questions. One is, in regards to your liquor that you're going to have on your aisles, are you selling this alcohol in gallons? How are you selling it? And how are you selling your beer? Is it in 6-packs, 12-packs, 24s? How are you selling it?
Well, it is, there is beer in fact. The particular inventory for this store obviously has not been set yet, but in general, Target sells beer in 6-packs. It does not break up 6-packs and sell bottles individually. It may be that some single bottles of craft beer are sold, but those are in the slightly larger format. Target doesn't sell the small, referred to as airplane bottles of distilled spirit or anything like that. So those are not, those are not the kind of product Target wants to be selling, just in terms of their own business.
Okay, let me see if I got this straight, because you're kind of breaking up on me. Are you telling us that your beer can be sold as a single can? Or bottle?
We don't, I'm sorry.
Does it depend on the size?
That would be
yeah.
a negative.
Yes.
It is not single, it's all multi-pack. Craft beer might come out with a single bottle, but it's a larger bottle, not pocket size or nothing like that. We will not be breaking any 6-pack, 12-pack, or any multi-pack and selling them individually. That is not the guest that we want to attract and be convenient for.
Okay. And my next question is, have you thought about having your alcohol, your distilled spirits in a locked area where one of the managers or someone like that would have to go and unlock that facility to get that particular alcohol out for the customer? Has that been thought about? Or is it on an aisle where it's just open for anyone to come down and actually grab it and go to the cash register?
It is on the shelving in the aisle. Target doesn't, and I say that as a general matter in its stores. Target doesn't keep alcohol or display alcohol in locked cases. That's just not how Target operates the sale of alcoholic beverages, but it has not been a problem because of the extensive security that Target has at its stores. So we haven't found it in general to be a problem to have the alcoholic beverages just on the display shelf.
Okay, you had indicated that there were several other Targets in the area that are selling alcohol, and you mentioned Westchester, I think you said. Did you say Hawthorne, Torrance? Can you give us an idea of some of the locations where they're actually selling? Because there's a Target that's not far from the one on Century, that's on 120th. I think that's the city of Hawthorne. Or is it Gardena?
Yes. Hawthorne does sell alcoholic beverages. The two stores in Culver City sell alcoholic beverages. I don't. Don't have. You asked about Torrance. I believe Torrance does, but I don't have the list in front of me. I do know that the Culver City store, Hawthorne, Lawndale, Ardena, do all sell alcoholic beverages.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, at this particular, thank you. At this particular point, we want to open it up for those people who have questions in regards to this particular project that are for or against this particular project. If you want to speak, you need to go to #2, give yourself a little time, and give us your name and state your comment.
Going to our first comment. Caller, please go ahead.
This is Councilman Ralph Franklin. I am unable to address any of the public comments or public hearings, so I must recuse myself. However, Mr. Chair, our hand has been raised for some time. Commissioner Coleman wanted to make some farewell comment. So after this item has been addressed, he would like to make a few comments before he retires for the evening. I am now through with comments. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Councilman Franklin, are you talking about comments on this particular item that we're talking about right now?
No, I have Commissioner Coleman on item number 7 that wanted to address comments after your resolution was read, but we were moved it off.
Okay, very
And we simply want to acknowledge it and depart.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone on the line that wants to give a comment on this particular project? We have a 3-minute time frame.
There are no callers with comments.
Okay,
At
very
this
good,
time?
thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up for some last-minute comments or questions from our commissioners. So we're going to start with Commissioner Patrick.
Thank you, Chair. I haven't any other questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Rice.
Yes. Because Target has a grocery store, I feel it's probably a necessity for members of the community while shopping to be able to have access to be able to purchase alcohol there and not have to go to the nearest place, which is, I think, El Grundy or another market that's across the way. I'm also thinking that if most grocery stores do sell alcoholic beverages, so I'm trying to find a mechanism in order to be able to make sure that Target, since they have the grocery store, they're able to stay competitive. I'm still a stickler with reference to the 60-day system as far as cameras. I can respect Target's general operation policies and what happens in other stores and in other areas. However, the unique dynamics in Inglewood, I think it's really important that we respect the planning department's request to have a 60-day system, even if it's an isolated system, just to satisfy the request of the Planning Commission, that in the event that we need to run back cameras in that one area of the store within a 60-day period, we can always do that. To the degree this item is approved by the commission this evening, I certainly think that we should restrict that to 680 square feet with a 1-year review.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
You have a comment, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Chairman. I've heard a number of comments about alcoholic beverages and beer. I just want to remind the commission what's in front of you is distilled spirits. My understanding is Target can sell beer and wine without coming here. So when we talk about beer and wine and alcoholic beverages, just keep in mind that we're only talking about distilled spirits. We can say yes or no to that. So they can still sell alcoholic beverages is the bottom line.
Okay, duly noted. Commissioner Trio?
Thank you. Well, you know, we have to make a finding, or we have to make a determination for public convenience and necessity to allow the sale of the distilled spirits. If we approve it, then we are adding or contributing to the overconcentration of liquor licenses. And I have just really not convinced that there is public convenience or necessity. We've got two other off-sale licenses in the census tract and 4 off-sale licenses in the adjacent census tracts. And I think when individuals, they have a right for beer and wine, but you know, they can buy it there. But if they want to go to if they want to distill spirits, they can go to other areas that are very, very close by. So I don't see where there's a public convenience or necessity.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams?
Yes, because Target sells groceries, I see it as them wanting to stay competitive and as a convenience for the customer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we've heard the comments. You made your comments. At this particular point, you've heard the applicant, and you've heard their request as well. So I'd like to get a motion on the floor for this particular project.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go right ahead, sir.
I'd like to move that we affirm category exemption EACE 2019-138, because I certainly see the convenience to the community when they're shopping, and the necessary component for the grocery store to stay competitive with other grocery stores who have like products. And I also want to adopt the attached resolution approving SP 2019-018 with 26 conditions, as well as maintaining the 680 square feet with a 1-year review of this approval, if it's approved this evening, and maintaining the 60-day camera recording system, even if it's an isolated system just for the city of Inglewood's access. Thank you.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Did you understand the motion? Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been properly moved in second. We're going to call for any questions on this motion. Hearing, okay, you got a question on the motion?
He
You did
said
the second, so you
I know.
you have a question.
Yeah.
Okay,
He said 26 conditions. I only see 25.
The agenda item lists 26, so, and I placed actually 2 more on top of it. So if there are actually 25.
okay.
The staff, are there 25 or 26?
I have 25.
I see 25 in the resolution, and I have the one noted 1-year review added, making it 26.
Okay, that's correct. I'm sorry, it's correct.
1-year review, so that would be 26.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So you heard the motion. There are 26.
There are 26.
Are you seconding that?
I am seconding, yes.
We call for any other questions on this motion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Patrick?
Aye.
Commissioner Rice?
Aye.
Commissioner Trejo?
No.
Chairman Springs? Oh, excuse me, Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Chairman Springs?
Aye. Ms. Wilcox?
Yes, Chairman, there is an appeal process. Anyone may appeal the decision of the Planning Commission on this matter. The appeal must be filed within 20 days from the notice of decision and shall be made by filing a written notice of appeal with the Planning Division and a fee of $529, at which time the matter will be scheduled for the next city council meeting.
Okay, you have your project. And I need you to get with the planning commission, I'm sorry, with the conditions, because they had some conditions they wanted changed, and those conditions are not gonna be changed. So you need to get with, Melissa, so she can go over those with you, so you know exactly what those conditions are. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Secretary?
Item 6B. Item 6B, a public hearing to consider an application by Donaire Davis, representing Urban Ink Gallery, for special use permit number 2020-003, SB 2020-003, to allow a tattoo parlor within an existing 2,700 square foot multi-tenant commercial building on a 5,000 square foot C2 general commercial zone property at 2631 West Manchester Boulevard.
Madam Secretary, at this time, we're going to hear from Councilman Franklin, and we'll go back to item number 6B. Councilman Franklin, are you on the line now?
Hello, everyone. I really want to wish everyone a healthy, safe, and also I want to thank all the staff and all the commission who put up with me for all these years. I am a little under the weather, as you know by now, and I just miss my home away from home. And I really want to thank all of
Your line is now muted.
also my birthday twin. We have a birthday coming up, and I want to say happy birthday to you and good wishes. And the city attorney, the governor, thank you very much for your years. And I want to thank the planning office, including code enforcement, everybody for putting up with me. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Coleman?
Your line is now unmuted.
Commissioner Coleman, this is Chairman Springs. I want to say, first of all, thank you for your many years of service, your years of dedications not only to the community, but to the County of Los Angeles, your dedication as a law enforcement officer for many, many years, and then again, for your dedication to the city of Inglewood. I would like to add that we're going to miss you. I don't think there's going to be anyone who's going to go over the security devices as much as you. We're working on that right now, and hopefully we'll be able to actually be as good as you as far as the security system goes. And I want to open it up for our commissioners, if they can just give you a brief, I love you, sayonara, and we're going to open it up for Commissioner Patrick, if she can do that, and then we're going to go down the road.
Hi, Terry. This is Patricia, and I'll say my usual good morning on Facebook tomorrow. So look for me in my praying hands. Good luck. Love you.
Commissioner Rice.
Hey, Terry, Commissioner Rice, how are you, my brother? We miss you here. Your replacement, I think she's going to do a fine job. Thank you. Hope to see you soon.
Commissioner Trio.
Commissioner Coleman, Terry, I'm certainly going to miss you. I want to thank you for all your years of service to the city, your professionalism, your guidance to your guidance for the city, to your fellow commissioners, past and present. You will certainly be missed. I will miss you. Take care, Terry. We'll continue to be in touch.
And your replacement, Commissioner Williams.
Commissioner Coleman, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you. However, all the wonderful things I've heard about you, I just hope that I can represent as well as you have. Thank you.
And lastly, Commissioner Coleman, Terry, a wonderful, wonderful guy. We're going to miss you. We're going to truly miss you. We're asking you just to stay safe. That's the number one thing we want you to do is stay safe. Our prayers and blessings are going to continue with you, and we love you. We're going to miss you, and we love you for sure, no doubt. Okay, so we're going to move on, and we're going to go to 6B. And Madam Secretary, can you go over that one more time for us?
Item 6B, a public hearing to consider an application by Donaire Davis, representing Urban Ink Gallery, for special use permit number 2020-003, SB 2020-003, to allow a tattoo parlor within an existing 2,700 square foot multi-tenant commercial building on a 5,000 square foot C2 general commercial zoned property at 2631 West Manchester Boulevard.
Chairman Springs and Commission, the project file is present and notice in the time, form, and manner as required by law was given. Planning received no written communications regarding this item, and Planner Bernard McCrumbie is present to do a short staff presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and members of the Commission. The subject site is Zone C2 and is surrounded by residential uses to the north, commercial uses to the south, east, and west. The proposed 1,000 square foot tattoo parlor is located within an existing multi-tenant commercial building on an approximately 5,000 square foot lot. The proposed parlor will provide a range of tattooing and body piercing services for men and women. The primary entrance to the parlor will be from an entry door along Manchester Boulevard. As you can see on the screen, the tattoo parlor will have 2 tattooing stations and 1 body piercing station. The tenant space will also include a reception and waiting area, as well as a break and storage room, which will also house the ADA restroom. The proposed hours of operation for the parlor are 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. As a part of the application, the applicant has already provided a copy of a certificate of registration from the County of Los Angeles Body Art Program, which is issued by the Department of Public Health for successful completion of a health and safety courses. If the Planning Commission approves this request, the applicant will need to provide proof of completion of all required health and safety courses for all artists that are employed at the subject site, and any other requirements that have now come to light due to the COVID-19 pandemic prior to obtaining a business license. Parking for the multi-tenant building can be accessed from an alley at the rear of the building. The site was developed with 5 parking spaces, and this request does not require any additional parking. The subject site currently does not have any security cameras. However, the applicant proposes to install interior and exterior security cameras. The site was developed in accordance with the existing development standards of the IMC, and the operation of the tattoo parlor is compatible with existing surrounding C2 uses. A notice of exemption has been prepared stating that the project is exempt from further CEQA review. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you, Bernard. Put over the questions, starting with Commissioner Patrick?
Will the owner of the tattoo parlor be on the line this evening or not?
Yes, he's actually here, so he'll be tapping in from the community room.
Chair, I would rather hold my questions until that time. Thank you.
Commissioner Rice?
Yes. The nearest legal tattoo parlor to this parlor is located where?
On Centinela, it's Hard Luck Tattoo, right on Centinela, right before you get to La Cienega. I think it was approved maybe 10 to 12 years ago. I know because I worked on it.
And the interior cameras, do you have a diagram that shows where these cameras are going to be?
Well, at this time, we don't have a precise location for where those cameras are going to be located. We typically kind of finalize the location of cameras during the interior TI of the site plan review process.
Am I to assume they're going to be on entrance and exits
Absolutely.
only? 'Cause it's privacy I'm concerned with.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would kind of want to work with the applicant to kind of finalize the location of those cameras, if approved.
Thank you.
Commissioner Trio?
So customers will be able to come in from the front and from the back, is that right?
Yeah, there is a rear entrance that's directly adjacent to the parking lot. You also have customers that can park along Manchester when allowed to, and then kind of walk in as if it's off of the storefront.
Okay, so from both front and back. Is there lighting in the back?
There is some building lighting that actually could be improved or enhanced, and that would maybe something that the commission, if they feel is necessary, may want to impose.
I think if approved, I think it would need some lighting beyond just the building lighting in the back. And as Commissioner Rice indicated, certainly security at both the front and back entrance.
We can't hear you.
Enhanced light, if approved, enhanced lighting in the rear beyond just the building lighting. And for sure, security cameras in the front entrance and the back entrance.
Commissioner Williams?
I'll reserve my questions for the owner.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very good, thank you. If the applicant is here, please give us your name and give us a reason why we should approve this particular project. How will it be beneficial to our community? Please give us your name.
My name is Denari Davis, the owner and founder of
We
Urban.
didn't hear you.
My name is Denari Davis, owner and founder of Urban Ink Gallery, Inglewood. Just to answer your questions about the lighting, I've since acquired the Ring floodlight cams that will be installed at the rear for the alley. And while I do preserve, I have 4 parking spaces in the rear. I have since come to realize that it's better for clients to just enter through the front.
Sir, can you actually talk into the microphone so we can hear you a little? Microphone.
Can you hear me now?
It's better.
Is this a little better?
Yes, a little better, yes.
Okay, so I have since acquired didn't touch anything. All right. Is that better?
Yes.
All right, apologies. I've acquired the Ring floodlight cam that will be placed at the rear for the alley. And if you're not familiar with the Ring floodlight, it has 2 large illuminated lights that you can either turn on through your phone or you can leave it on at all times. You can set a timer to it as well. And it will light up your life. The entire alley is very illuminated with the Ring floodlight. And you can access the camera through 3 devices, whether it be a tablet, computer, or your mobile device. There is already cameras installed at the front of the establishment that can be seen from my establishment and the neighboring landlord. the dress shop that you can also see the inside. It's very lit up. Now, if additional cameras are required, I would put them in the front to where you can actually see who's on the streets. But as of right now, you can see the entire inside of the establishment. And once the Ring floodlight cam is installed over the rear door, you can see approximately 30 feet on either side of the floodlight cam. So that just to answer your question about the security cameras. And as far as now moving on to why you should allow a tattoo parlor, Inglewood is a vastly growing economy over the past, I would say, 5 years. I was a resident of Inglewood when I went to elementary school, and driving down the Manchester corridor, I noticed that it's been struggling for a very long time. And I feel like it's because Inglewood lacks the establishments and an appeal to a luxury setting, and Inglewood is a nice area for economic development. As far as they're already doing pretty well financially, as you see in the flyer that I passed out to you. And I'm just trying to provide another venue for people that can afford nicer things to come and participate in a nice vibe while they get their tattoo. It's not just tattoos. I sell fine arts. It's a gallery first, a tattoo shop second. People come in, they can, I said that backwards, it's tattoo shop, a gallery second. Well, when you come in to get your tattoo, you enjoy the scenery on the walls, the visual aesthetics, while listening to nice music and grown-up conversation. It's not I reserve the right to refuse service to anybody. It's not a tattoo shop for the youngsters. I check your ID when you come in, make sure you're over 18, and discover, find out if you have any kind of medical illnesses that'll prevent you from getting a tattoo. As I said, it's really not for the youngsters. It's more catered towards a grown and sexy vibe. And cleaning up the strip of the Manchester corridor, I feel like it'll fit perfectly with all of the features that are coming as far as the stadium and the improvement of the forum and other businesses that are seeing the opportunity that I've noticed for a long time on the Manchester corridor.
Okay. What we're going to do is we have some questions for you, sir. So we're going to open up the questions for you. So if you just remain right there. Commissioner Patrick.
Mr. Davis, good evening. There are, to the east of you, there are 2 other dress shops. Regarding your parking, they don't have any designated parking. Your 5 parking spaces, will that be shared with your 2 neighbors? The 2 dress shops to the east of you?
Yes.
That parking space will be shared?
No, they have their own parking.
They do?
Correct.
Okay, because I didn't see it.
But we all share parking. However, they do have their own designated parking spaces.
Behind their respective businesses?
Correct.
Okay. I enjoyed reading your brochure, very detailed as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
You talked about the artists that will be there. Will these be people that are painting like a Color Me Mine, or are they patrons that will be waiting for tattoos and this is just something to busy themselves with? I didn't quite understand, because eventually you said those paintings will be for sale.
No, they're the paintings that clients, when they come in and they're waiting for their tattoo, I have a station set up where, like the Black Lives Matter, different things that are going on, they're relevant to the times. They can sit for $20 and paint the stencil I already have placed on the canvas. If they would like to put it on the wall that I have designated behind my station, then they can, and that will be for sale. Otherwise, for $20, they can take it home with them. That's what the idea of that station is for in general. And just to speak to that while you were talking about the artists, the other artist station that I do have, it's designed the same way that you have an art gallery, and it's going to be a revolving set of pictures for you to purchase and look at on the walls. It's the same thing for the tattoo artists, the licensed artists that travel from other states, Atlanta, Florida, New York, that come to Los Angeles, that have a huge following, and local residents aren't able to travel to them. They can set up an appointment at the gallery and be able to visit their favorite artists when they're in town.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Rice?
Mr. Davis, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. So it appears that your primary business is tattoo services. Is that correct?
Correct.
Are you currently providing tattoo services at your location?
No, sir.
I visited your store today as well as your Instagram, and it appeared that you were doing tattoos in that location based on your Instagram.
Yes, the tattoos that
Mr. Davis, let me preface something before we go. I really want to help you be successful with this, and the most important thing for me is that you tell me the truth.
Yes, I do.
Continue, please.
Okay, I do tattoos to provide the portfolio that's needed to move forward with the location and to survive during this time of having to pay rent and get through the COVID-19 scare and get through the process of getting the proper zoning and having to survive. But no, I'm not conducting business. It's just to survive.
I'm going to try to interpret what you said in a way that I hope it's what you said. That you're doing tattoos to put together your portfolio.
Correct.
And those are not tattoos that you're charging for.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Trio?
Mr. Davis, good evening.
Good evening.
Do you have do you have any other studios, tattoo studios?
Yes, and that speaks to the portfolio that you see. In Kansas City, I still maintain a location there, an old school tattoo studio.
So you selected the Inglewood area to start your second tattoo studio.
Yes, this is my first owner-operator tattoo studio in Kansas City. I sublease space.
Okay, so you're currently not, or you are charging for tattoos and performing tattoo work at the Inglewood site?
I have performed tattoos at the Inglewood site, correct.
Have you charged for them?
No, it would be on a tip basis if they decided to give me any compensation, but it's just to build the portfolio.
I can't hear
You
the
have to speak into the mic, sir.
It would just be on a tip basis. I just perform tattoos as a portfolio building service right now for myself.
So you're not charging, or you are charging for the tattoos you're creating?
No, I'm not charging.
Okay. How long have you been at this site in preparation for getting approval?
I got the lease for the place in February. I've been there building up the store since.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Davis.
Good
My
evening.
question is, you said you're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Even on Sundays, you don't have any reduced, you didn't feel it necessary to reduce your hours on Sunday? Also, you said this is a luxury in terms of having a tattoo. How do you feel the residents in that particular area would see this as a luxury?
Okay.
Especially since the average age in that area is probably over the age of 40.
Okay. To the first question, all right, speaking to the second question, it's a luxury because many people tend to spend money on things that they don't really have to, and I've seen people sit in my chair and debate whether they should pay their phone bill or survive off of Wi-Fi, or if they're going to get this tattoo. To alleviate all of that, I just want to provide a luxury service, and for the median people that are 40 years and up, they have an understanding of that concept right there, that this is not something to debate whether I should, compromise other necessities in contrast to coming in and getting a nice quality tattoo and enjoying an outing for the evening. And the first question again, would you mind repeating?
You said your hours of operation
okay.
are 7
Thank you.
days a week. Okay.
All right, so upon opening, I have an artist that is coming in with me so far that will be the shop manager in my absence, which I do plan on taking off Sundays and Mondays. And he can maintain those hours. He currently has a shop in Venice, that One Love Tattoo Studio, and he's going to work my shop on the weekends, on Sundays and Mondays, and that's how I will be able to get a break for myself and my family.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, my questions has to do with your hours of operation. You're open 7 days a week. And right on the north of you is residential, and then the surrounding areas are commercial. So what is your feelings on the residential areas that just north of you and your hours of operation, 7 days a week? Had you considered 6 days a week, 5 days a week, or is it mandatory that financially you have to be open 7 days a week?
7 days a week is a convenience for the clients. People have, multiple off days. Some people are off during the week, some people are off on the weekends. And understanding my clients' needs and the times that they reach out to me is why I maintain to want to stay open 7 days a week. As far as the neighbors, I've been a resident of Inglewood. I know the community, and I know how to respect the community. I feel like I'm an asset to the area in security and keeping the peace in the area. I would find, if anything, that they would enjoy my presence 7 days a week, in contrast to maybe being a burden. It's a tattoo shop. It's not very much strain on the parking. So it doesn't affect their residential situation. It's no loud music. It's no hanging out. So I believe that it wouldn't have a negative impact on the area.
Okay, very good. Okay, Mr. Davis, thank you very much. I have no further questions, but just hang around.
I have one follow-up question.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Davis, have you been cited by code enforcement?
No, I have not, sir.
Have they came to visit your location?
The only code enforcement, no, I'm not. The health department has came out and inspected, and they're going to come back after the findings of this commission.
So did that inspire you to apply for the licensing with the city that you're doing now?
Yeah, I need the licensing to complete, to be fully legal and open my doors. The health department is a process that I needed to provide to you. Once I get the zoning, then the business license will be approved, and the health department will make their next visit, and I'll be done with them.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, very good, Mr. Davis. Thank you very much. At this particular point, we want to open it up for those who are having any comments about this particular project, for or against this particular project. You can do so at this time. remember that you can hit #2 and you'll be online and you can ask a question for or against this particular project.
There are no callers at this time.
Okay, there's no callers. I see someone getting ready to come up to the mic. Okay, give us your name, please.
My name is Annie Graham.
You're going to have to speak into the microphone so we can hear you.
I'm sorry, Annie Graham. I'm the business owner next door, the clothing stores, and I'm very appreciative to Don. He's like security for me there, because I'm there 7 days a week too. Sometime I'm closing, sometime I'm not, but he's a good enhancement there, and I appreciate him. So I would love to have him there.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I've been there 15 years, so.
You've been there 15 years? Okay,
Yes.
very good. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, give us your name, please.
Hello, my name is Tanisha Marshall. I work with probation and DCFF youth. Denori has had the time to talk to my residents regarding positive paths in life as far as like artwork and things like that. So I'm in a very big placement, and he's just been an asset to the company. And the company name is Penny Lane Youth Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we don't see anyone else. So we're going to close this segment, and we're going to open it up for final questions from our commissioners. So, Commissioner Patrick, any final questions, comments?
I haven't any, thank you.
Commissioner Rice?
Seeing as no one from the local community has came forward to speak against this project, and actually we've had a couple of people who from the local business community who came and spoke in favor of it, and considering its convenient location, because the nearest tattoo parlors are over 1.5 miles away, because it has convenient times, which members of the business community have expressed that are helpful to them also to strengthen that business community, and the necessity for the demographics, tattoo demographics, which is really 20 to 40 years of age. I think this would be convenient for them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Trio?
I like the fact that he has support from the business owners, particularly the young lady, Annie Graham, who has a business next door and says that the applicant helps her out, and I'm sure she feels much safer having another business right there. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Williams?
Yes, my concern is the clientele that could possibly come in, especially if rival gang members come through, and it could be an issue. I'm also concerned if the location becomes a situation where particular gang members service it quite often and other gang members find out about it. Again, it can be a problem. Concerned about Amino High School being in the area in close proximity, approximately 11-minute walk from the school. So I do have concerns. And I do know about the tattoo place that's Hard Luck, that's about 4 miles away. And there are other tattoo parlors in Westchester as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we've heard the questions, we've heard the comments, we've heard the applicant, we've heard the owners near his particular store. So at this particular point, I'd like to see if there's a motion on the floor.
I'll make the motion. I move that the planning committee recommends to affirm the categorical exemption EA CE 2020-012 and adopt the attached resolution approving SP 2020-003, subject to the 16 conditions therein.
Second.
I'd like to make an addition to that.
Okay, but before you do that, you got a second here? You want to hold back on your second?
Just because of the nuances of this particular business, I'd like to add a one-year review on this particular project to see how it goes with testing our new market.
That's fine.
Okay, so you added
An amendment
amendment to your motion.
to a one-year review. Yes, I am.
Okay.
That actually, that is a condition of the SUP already. A one-year review is a condition.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we got a second on this. We're gonna call for any questions on the motion. Hearing none, we're gonna call for our vote.
Commissioner Patrick? Aye. Commissioner Rice?
Aye.
Commissioner Trejo?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
I oppose.
I'm sorry.
No.
No, thank you. And Chairman Springs?
Aye. Ms. Wilcox?
Yes, Chairman. Anyone may appeal the decision of the Planning Commission on this matter. The appeal must be filed within 20 days from the notice of decision and shall be made by filing a written notice of appeal with the Planning Division and a fee of $529, at which time it will be scheduled for hearing before the City Council.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Davis, you have your tattoo parlor, and let's see if we can keep it together. Okay, Madam Secretary, our last. Can we take a break? Before we get started on our last, can we take a 5-minute break? That will give the people online an opportunity to gear up online. So we're gonna take a 5-minute break, We're back here at 8:57. 8:57.
I walk past this tattoo parlor every day. That used to be the first nail shop I saw. Same building, first nail, and wait, and that one.
Jackson.
I'll be walking past there every day. I see any shady characters.
She spoke highly of you all the time. I said, who is this lady you talking about? Okay, we're gonna call this meeting back to order, and Madam Secretary.
Item 6D, a public hearing to consider an application by Timothy Luskin representing Chipotle Mexican Grill, Inc., a special use permit 2020-006, SP 2020-006, to allow outdoor dining and the sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption in an approximately 3,000 square foot existing one-story commercial building that is part of an existing shopping center on a CR, commercial recreational zone property at 3421 West Century Boulevard.
Chairman Springs and Commission, the project file is present and notice in the time, form, and manner as required by law was given. Staff received no written communication regarding this item, and planner Arturo Salazar is present to do a short staff presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Springs and members of the commission. The subject tenant space is located in a one-story, multiple-tenant commercial building that is part of the marketplace at Hollywood Park and is located on the northwest corner of Century Boulevard and Club Drive. The shopping center is approximately 42.7 acres and is developed with a variety of retail and commercial businesses. The site is accessed from Century Boulevard and Club Drive via a two-way driveway. The proposed fast food restaurant consists of a commercial kitchen, a main dining area that includes 4 bar height tables, 6 small group tables, 4 community tables, 47 seats, 4 floor-mounted banquet seats, 2 restrooms. The tenant space has 2 entrances. The main entry to the commercial building will remain and will be accessed from the north building frontage oriented towards the parking lot. The proposed outdoor dining area contains 13 tables and 36 seats. The outdoor dining area will be open during business hours. The outdoor dining area will not conflict with the adjacent tenant, Verizon, or pedestrian or vehicle traffic circulation. The outdoor dining area shall be separated from the parking lot and sidewalk by means of a wall, fence, glass, screen, hedge, or other landscaping. The sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption will be allowed in the main dining area and outdoor patio area. The existing on-site parking spaces will not be modified. The existing shopping center complies with the IMC parking requirements. Therefore, the site will continue to have adequate parking for the fast food restaurant and outdoor dining area. The shopping center is regulated by a recorded operations and easement agreement. The agreement ensures proper and continuous maintenance on common areas and the parking lot. According to ABC, 4 on-sale licenses are permitted within the subject census tract. ABC records indicate that there are currently 2 active licenses for on-site consumption of alcohol within the census tract. Therefore, the census tract is not over-concentrated. The Planning Commission is not required to make a public convenience or necessity finding. If ABC determines that a PCN finding is necessary, the applicant will be required to come back to the Planning Commission at a later date for the finding to be considered. The restaurant has 7 surveillance cameras on the interior of the building. The surveillance cameras are monitored in real time for security purposes. The proposed project is consistent with the land use element of the Inglewood General Plan. A CADX has been prepared by staff stating that the proposed project is exempt. This concludes staff's presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Okay, thank you, Art. Any questions? Start off with Commissioner Patrick.
I do. Is this the space that was formerly occupied by the Payless Shoe Store?
Yes.
That, it's already operating. We're talking about it in the future tense. It's operating and people are there and buying things.
That's correct. Unfortunately, they got a head start, and they are operating without a current business license.
And it says there are 2 entrances.
Commissioner, would like to add to what Art said. They can operate by right as a restaurant. It's the alcohol request that's before you today. So they are able to operate as a restaurant. It sounds like they don't have their business license, but restaurant is permitted by right there.
Okay, but under the site design, it says the tenant space has 2 entrances.
That's correct.
I only see one.
Right, the other one's on the back end that has entrance to the
But
kitchen.
that's only
and-
for employees.
For the employees, correct.
Okay, I haven't any other questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Rice.
Can I ask the reason why they don't have a current city business license?
That, I don't have an answer for that, but the applicant is downstairs, and perhaps they might have an answer for that.
Okay. We had a project very similar to this about a year ago, I believe on Imperial, and they're doing the same thing with the beer.
That's correct.
However, I don't think you could just walk out the door and onto the patio and perhaps take a glass of beer and walk out into the parking lot on that one the way that you can on this one.
That's correct, because at the location on Imperial, one of the conditions was to put a barrier that does not allow for exterior access, just for interior access to the dining area. And that's one of the conditions implemented and put in in your resolution.
And it forces the patrons to circle back into the restaurant to exit.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Trio.
Art, what did you say when you were making your presentation about if a finding has to be made, they have to come back? I didn't catch all of that.
That's correct. Right now, it's not, it's under concentrated, it's not over concentrated.
Right.
But if ABC determines that they need a finding, then they would need to come back to this board for that finding.
Even though it's under concentrated?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes. How would you control the consumption of alcohol? In other words, will there be a maximum that could be purchased?
The Chipotle has they are required to train staff through ABC, and it's also in your resolution, I believe it's condition 7, where they have to get continuous training through that program, through ABC, which includes when and a patron has had too much to drink.
Okay, so the employees would determine if the patron had too much to drink.
Through the training process, through the ABC,
training.
that's correct.
So there wouldn't be a maximum that could be purchased, like 2 drinks is it?
No.
Okay, so if you see someone who has had a little bit too much, what is the protocol at that point?
That would be up to management. That's management's call.
Okay. Well, that's concerning. Okay, so you're saying the manager would have to make a determination what to do with that particular customer.
Right, and through the training, they train the staff and management to determine whether someone has had enough to drink or not through that training, that specific training.
So if they determine that that person's had too much to drink, then what do they do? In other words, do they call that person an Uber? Do they have to call law enforcement if the person becomes belligerent? I'm just trying to understand.
Right, like I mentioned, that will be up to the determination of Chipotle management on what they do with that patron.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Art. I have no questions. Thank you. If the applicant is here, please give us your name and tell us about your particular project, why we should approve this project, how is it beneficial to our community?
Is it working?
Yes.
Okay.
Speaking to the mic.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, I'm not used to this. Do I have to wear this while I'm? Okay. Hi, my name is Valerie Sachs. I'm with liquorlicense.com, and I'm here on behalf of Chipotle Mexican Grill. I guess I'm looking at myself on the camera rather than the commissioners. Anyway, I would like to give you a little bit of an overview of the Chipotle, but kind of before we do that, there were a few questions that the commissioners had, and just so that I can see why those are a significant concern, so I just wanted to kind of alleviate those before I go into the overall benefit of the Chipotle. So first off, as far as the question about the public convenience and necessity finding, because there is not an overconcentration, I can't really imagine why the ABC would require them to come back for that. Second off, as far as the patio controls. So initially, this was planned without a barrier. And
Excuse me, just one moment, ma'am. I just want to ask the question to the city attorney. Is there a possibility that,
very disconcerting.
yeah, can you cut it up just a bit so we can hear? And does she have to have the mask on while she's speaking?
Yes.
She does, yes.
Okay. All right.
She just needs to speak into the mic. Can you tell her to get closer to the mic, please?
Okay. I don't think the man with the tattoo shop did, but whatever. Can you hear me? Is it a little fuzzy? Is that?
No, it's just too low.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, it's also slightly disconcerting because, well, now I'm looking at you, but before I was looking at me, which is a little, not what I'm used to. Anyway, all right. So as far as the patio area goes, this was requested without a barrier. Now, I understand from Mr. Salazar that a barrier will be required, and that's a requirement in this zone. So it will have a barrier, but when it wasn't going to have a barrier, they weren't going to serve alcohol on the patio. They have this situation at a number of their locations. They have a lot of locations where they don't have the right barriers for the ABC, and they just don't serve alcohol on the patio. So what they do is they have signs that are right next to the exits that, sorry, I'm looking at myself again, it's so strange. So they have signs that are right next to the exits that will say alcohol not permitted beyond this point, and then when somebody purchases an alcoholic beverage product, they are told that they can't go out on the patio. So that's how they normally control it. That being said, if they are going to be required to provide these barriers, as I understand they will be, I will circle back with the client and find out whether they want to enclose them in such a way that they can serve alcohol out there. But there would have to be certain kinds of barriers because the concern about somebody walking out with a beer is, obviously that's a concern if you have a patio area that doesn't have any barrier on it. So typically the way these, I'm sorry, it's very, I apologize, it's very disconcerting to be looking at myself rather than the commissioners. But anyway, so typically there's a barrier. The way the barrier is set up is that so you would have to go into the restaurant and then you go out another exit into the patio area if they're going to serve alcohol out there. So I don't know if it's going to be feasible for them to have alcohol on the patio anyway, but since we will be required to provide a barrier, I'll raise that issue with them. And usually it comes down to ABC regulations, like whether it is something that is consistent with the way the ABC wants to do it. But they do have this, they do serve alcohol at a variety of, at many locations, and they have all kinds of, they will have the security cameras out there, they have the security cameras inside, and they will have, they very heavily self-regulate. So for example, the concern about somebody, just getting a whole bunch of beers and getting really drunk, That pretty much never happens at a Chipotle. They very, very heavily self-regulate. You can't go up there and buy a bunch of beers. You can go up there, you can get a burrito, and you can get a beer, and then you sit down, and if you want to get another beer, you need to go back up and go through the line and get another beer. They won't let you buy multiple at the same time, and typically they won't even let you buy it without food. It's overall, in all of their locations, it's typically a very, very small percentage of gross receipts. They really don't do it so much because it's a moneymaker, but it more has to do with the kind of experience they want to be able to offer to their patrons. So they see themselves, and I believe are, a cut above a typical fast food restaurant in many different ways in terms of the quality of the food, the sophisticated design of the stores, which I think has been emulated by a lot of other restaurants in the same general category, but they were definitely a trailblazer in that regard. The quality of the food and the ingredients and the cooking is actually pretty high for the price point, but they're able to offer it at that price because of the assembly line style and the simplified menu and so forth. And just the ability to have a beer, and at some locations a margarita, but we're only asking for beer here, is just part of the overall experience that they want to be able to, so it's not just like a grab and go kind of place, but it's a place where you could hang out with your friends. Maybe you're going to meet there, maybe a group of you are going to meet there and have dinner and have, some beers before you go to an event at the stadium once that opens up. That's kind of the concept behind it. So I'm sorry, I apologize. I find this part of the reason I wanted to come in person is because I kind of like to look at the commissioners, and the entire time I'm just looking at myself. So anyway, I apologize if I seem like I'm, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway.
Very good. We see you, though.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna open it up for questions for you, and we're gonna start off with Commissioner Patrick.
Good evening. I didn't get your name.
Valerie Sachs, S-A-C-K-S. I'm with liquorlicense.com. We represent them in a number of locations.
Okay.
We represent them throughout California and elsewhere, actually.
Thank you, Ms. Sachs. I was there for the first time. I visited Chipotle on Saturday. You only sell beer and wine. You don't sell distilled spirits?
Correct. They don't even serve wine, but one can hope that
Just beer?
Yeah, just beer. I mean, it's the same license for beer and wine. I sort of personally, as a patron, hold out the hope that someday they'll have sangria too, but it's just beer.
When did you open for business at this location?
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. It was kind of news to me. I just found out earlier this evening that they didn't have their business license yet. That's unusual for them. They're usually very responsible and self-regulating, but I'm just guessing that this has something to do with some COVID-related confusion. I don't have a good answer for you, and I apologize. They don't serve alcohol there, absolutely not, though. They won't be able to do that until they get, hopefully, this SUP approved, and then that becomes final, and then they'll go finish off the process with the ABC.
So do you have an approximate date as to when you may expect to obtain your business license?
I was just made aware of it. I don't do the permitting, but I imagine, I don't know, Mr. Salazar said it wouldn't take long once they put it in. I will ask them tomorrow. I don't manage the construction part of it, so I will bring that to their attention. That's obviously certainly understand why you're concerned about that. That's not normally how they're normally, they're very good operators, and that's not normally. I've been representing them since like 2012, and this is the first time I've ever seen this happen.
Okay. I did enjoy my visit, by the way. I haven't any other questions. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Rice,
No questions.
Commissioner Trio.
One question on the beer. When they start serving, do they serve in bottles or do they serve in cups?
It is in bottles. And what happens is, so many of the employees are under the age of 21, but they always have a manager on site who's 21 or older. So if you were to go through the register, you go through the line, you order your burrito or whatever it is, then you say you want a beer. They would, if the manager is not the cashier, they would call the manager over. The manager would double check the license and so forth. and then the manager would be the person who would take the beer out of the cooler and open it and hand it to the customer. So there's no, they do offer takeout for food, but unless it's changed post-COVID, and I haven't been told that they do, they don't have any intention, they never offer takeout for alcohol. So you have to consume it on site, and unless they get the proper barriers for ABC, and subject to the city's requirements for the patio, you would not be able to consume that beer outside of the dining room.
Yeah, because I was thinking that potentially if you're served a bottle of beer, then you could take that bottle of beer and, I don't know, jump the barrier or something and take the beer off-site.
Microphone,
which is-
please.
Well, if somebody really wants to, I mean, they will have cameras out there. The way the stores are designed also, and you may have noticed this when you were there, that the food line is, so the food line where all of the employees are putting together your food faces directly out towards the dining room and towards the big glass area so that you're looking directly onto the patio area. So, and they have, well, not now, but normally they have, people who wander around the restaurant, make sure you're cleaning everything up, and they are also instructed to monitor. And in addition, there are security cameras, and there will be, I understand a couple more are being required in the patio, which is customary. I mean, they usually have security cameras everywhere where the public is, so.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Williams?
No questions.
Okay, the only question I have, your Chipotle over on Imperial and Crenshaw, you familiar with that one?
Yes, I actually represented Chipotle for that. That was quite a while ago.
You say you're a representative, is that what you said?
Yes, Mr. Salazar mentioned it to me, and
Are they selling beer and wine at that particular location?
I haven't been back there. I mean, I represented them when they opened. As far as I understand, that they are, and we asked for a special use permit for them to do it.
So
as
can you
far as-
give us an idea of how many Chipotles in the surrounding areas are selling beer and wine?
I don't
Do you
have
have
a
an idea?
number, but the majority of them do serve beer. I mean, and they have it at hundreds and hundreds of stores throughout the state of California.
So by serving beer and wine at your Chipotle, and we're talking about the one on Century right now, how beneficial is that for the community? Let's say that I want to go in and I want to get me a plate, burritos, beans, and rice, and I have my granddaughter with me. She's underage. She's not even 13. So, is that beneficial for me to go in and get a beer? And I mean, is that a kosher thing to do? I mean,
Sorry. I think it's very beneficial because you may notice there aren't a lot of opportunities around there. There are not a lot of options around there for somebody to be able to have some alcohol with their meal, and it is something that many adults enjoy being able to have. The only other one that I'm aware of just doing the site visit and driving around today was the Chili's, and that's a full-service sit-down restaurant. It's it's going to be a lot more expensive. It's probably a bit rowdier. This is a very family-friendly kind of place. They absolutely discourage the kind of problem consumption of alcoholic beverage products that give people pause when approving these because it's just contrary to their business model. When you go into Chipotle's, they're not loud, they're not rowdy. It's kind of peaceful, pleasant place to enjoy, pretty inexpensive, really good quality, pretty tasty, I think, food, and have a beer with it. And especially, there aren't a lot of options around there. And given that given all of the other commercial areas around there, it's another amenity that to the community. And a lot of people do like to have those items.
okay, very good. And my final question would be, is it financially rewarding to have a beer and wine license? Or would you be able to operate without it? Would you be financially, would it flourish without that? Can you do without it? Or would it be more beneficial to have it?
Well, the corporate office, these are all corporate-run stores, so it's not a franchise. They have done the analysis, and they obviously believe that it is beneficial to them to do this, because even though it's not a big percentage of their gross receipts, they wouldn't make the investment in it if they didn't think that it was beneficial to the restaurants. I think it's something that gives them perhaps a bit of a competitive advantage. It is something that's part of their business model, and their business model has been very successful, but the restaurant industry is a very, it's an industry that is a pretty tough industry. There's a lot of restaurants that don't make it, and this is just something that they feel is conducive to their long-term success. Now, as far as the value to the city of Inglewood for Chipotle being a long-term success at that area, well, I mean, they're a very responsible operator. It's tax dollars, it's all of that, it's jobs. And in addition, there's just a few things that I've learned about Chipotle while working with them for all this time. And one is that they promote very heavily from within. So it used to be, they've expressed a preference to not actually have staff go to these meetings with me because it's usually dinner time when the managers are most busy. But for quite a long time, I would go with them, and they were almost always people that actually had started out working the line job, the bottom of the level, entry level. But if they really were ambitious and focused on it, they could gradually work their way up. And so I would have managers that started out, just working, putting together your burrito for you, that now were the operators of 9 different stores. So it does offer opportunities in that regard as well. They're a very responsible business. People do like them. I mean, notwithstanding this sort of strange business license situation that I just became aware of, they really have very, very few problems. I mean, and in fact, I would suggest, I would put that back to you guys. I mean, do you have any negative feedback regarding the Imperial Highway location? I'm not aware of any, but you were probably better situated to know about.
Well, I'm gonna tell you a story then.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, the planning department had a Christmas party for the entire staff, and we had Chipotle for our dinner, but we didn't have beer and wine. We had water and soda. So, thank you very much. I thought that was very humorous. I didn't get a laugh.
Well, I certainly understand that it's not for everybody, but it is something that many people enjoy. And I feel like a responsible, well-managed environment that's professionally managed. They have operational procedures in place. They try to systematize things as much as possible to foreclose having to make sure it's a good experience, make sure the restaurants are successful, and make sure they're good operators. So they do have a lot of their own sort of systems and checks and balances in place to make sure that that occurs. And it is something that people do enjoy, even if it's not your thing. There are people who, many adults do enjoy that, and better to have it, in my opinion, in a responsible environment that's very professionally managed.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna open this up for those individuals who wanna make a comment in regards to this particular project. For or against, you can do so at this time. Please go with #2 if you're gonna call in. You need to go to #2 and make your statement. Mr. Operator, is there any callers?
No phone comments at this time.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna close this segment, and we're gonna have final questions from our commissioners. So we're gonna start with Commissioner Patrick.
I haven't any, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rice?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Trill?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Williams?
No questions, thank you.
Very good. I have no questions. We've heard all our questions. We've heard our applicant. We've heard questions from our commissioners, comments. And at this time, I'd like to see if there's a motion on the floor.
I move that we affirm the categorical exemption EACE 2020-038 and adopt the attached resolution approving SP 2020-006 subject to 20 conditions to allow outdoor dining and sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption.
Okay, it's been properly moved in second. I call for any questions on this motion. Hearing none, we're going to call for a vote.
Commissioner Patrick?
Aye.
Commissioner Rice?
Aye.
Commissioner Trejo?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Chairman Springs?
Aye. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes, Chairman. Anyone may appeal the decision of the Planning Commission on this matter. The appeal must be filed within 20 days from the notice of decision and shall be made by filing a written notice of appeal to the Planning Division and a fee of $529, at which time the matter will be scheduled for hearing before the City Council.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Okay, at this time, we want to open it up for individuals who have any comments that they want to bring to the Planning Commission. They can do so at this time. Mr. Operator, is there anybody on the line that have any comments?
Again, if you're on the phone, press #2 to add a comment. No comments at this time.
Thank you. At this particular point, we want to open it up for any items that the commissioners have.
I will not talk about firecrackers and the fireworks, but I will talk about the bane of my existence, and that's the opening of our Popeye on the corner of 8th Avenue. But I will reserve comments. I would just like it to be noted that I am so against it, I can't tell you. But I don't think there is a year look-see at this Popeye, because I don't think they have those such things. I wasn't on the commission, if indeed it came through the commission at all. But I will be keeping tabs and letting you know. Thank you.
Before we move on, I'm not understanding what you're talking about, that Popeye's Chicken on 8th Avenue?
That will be on 8th Avenue. They're under construction right now.
Okay.
As a matter of course, I call that fast food row. We have 4 hamburger places 1 block west of there. And then we have a Popeye that you can only enter one way, and that's going east on Manchester, because there's an island. But thank you. I just want to register my complaint. So this is just me letting off steam. Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna make a comment on that one, because prior to that coming to the Planning Commission, the residents in that particular area, and you are in that area, had an opportunity to come and address your opinions or your likes or dislikes to that particular project coming aboard. And I know for a fact, you know everyone in your area because they know you. So you could have rallied them all up here.
I did, but it did not come through the Planning Commission for whatever reason. Thank you. It did not come through the Planning Commission.
Ms. Wilcox?
If the use is permitted by right, so the use would not have come through the Planning Commission. I don't recall if it came through as an Art Deco design review or not.
It was a design review.
It was a design review.
Which meant you had an opportunity to come and.
If I would have known, and I read my papers, I look at everything, I can't tell you, ad nauseum.
Okay.
We didn't know about it, but that's okay. Thank you. Complaint registered.
And Chairman, just would like to add, because it was a non-public hearing, the notice for that would have been the Planning Commission agenda only. Non-public hearings aren't noticed in the newspaper or anywhere else, per the municipal code.
Okay, Commissioner Patrick, you skated on that one. Commissioner Rice?
Negative, Chairman.
Commissioner Trio,
Nothing for me, thank you.
and our new commissioner, Commissioner Williams.
Nothing from me, thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Well, I have nothing. I just want to close out our meeting with a goodbye and a farewell and a good job done for the planning commissioner, Terry Coleman, who did an excellent job the 17 years he was here. So I want to close out our meeting and adjourn our meeting with a love for Terry Coleman. We are now adjourned.